SRBRadio.com.
We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say?
5, 4, 3, 2, which ones you want?
We have a team.
Welcome to the Monday Night Tilton Talk Show, in a week where we pick up another 4 valuable points from Reading and at home on Saturday against Sheffield Wednesday. The newbies have settled in and Lucas Djukovic is up and running on the score sheet. Legsins has a cracker and that never-say-die attitude of the team and managerial staff ensure victory for Blues in what was a bustling 90 minutes of football. Sky TV inevitably meant a lower than usual crowd. Sadly me, I had to be at work for 7:15, so missed both the Blues goals. The game away at Reading, well, I think we can put that down as a solid draw, and Birmingham City are still in the dizzy heights of the playoff zone. We look like a team, we defend resolutely, we work hard for each other, and the team spirit and work ethics that Gary Rowett has instilled is showing through in abundance. Up next, a tricky trip to Queen's Park Rangers. Can we? Yes, can we just keep the dream alive and stay in contention? Too early to even think about promotion, surely? Or is it? So once again, strap yourselves in and get ready for the ride on tonight's Tilton Talk Show. Just another exciting week in the life of a Blue Nose. We just got that any time, didn't we?
Just straight in there, straight in.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Pugh.
Good evening.
And good evening, Mr. Brown.
Oh yeah, I'll put your mic on now, Chris. Say good evening now.
Good evening.
Well done.
Thank you.
Got it.
We start off tonight's show, and it is with great sadness that we start today's show off, and with a heavy heart, as we learn the very sad news that our own producer and personal friend Chris Brown sadly lost his mum to cancer in the early hours of Sunday. I'm sure I sentiment the words of the whole of the Sports Radio team, its associates and listeners, as we offer our sincere condolences to Chris and his family during this very sad and difficult time. Bless
Thank
you,
you
mate.
very much for that. Thank you from all the family.
Well, never easy these times, are they, my friend? Never easy.
No, you know yourself.
I do.
Yeah.
Right, we have a special guest with us, joining us on the show later via a telephone link. That will be the one and only Mr. Howard Gayle. Mm-hmm. Oh, Howard Gayle on the show. That's a cracker, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're pulling him in, Chris. Pulling him in.
Yeah.
There.
Pulling him in.
Pulling him
Dragging
in.
them, kicking them, screaming.
Pulling him in. When's the show supposed to be with Scooby-Doo? What's his name?
Ian?
Yeah.
Ian's hopefully, I think that's all coincides with school holidays and things. So I think on the next half term.
Brilliant.
We've got Ian Clarkson. Yes, it's not far away, I don't think. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll just have a quick mull over of the last couple of games. Reading, would you say that was an acceptable draw?
Oh, more than acceptable.
Take a point away at Reading every day?
Absolutely, yeah. I think if when you start the season, if you're picking up points away from home and doing well at home, then I think that's a good indication of where you want to be going in the season. If you're drawing your away games and winning your home games, then you're on course for a decent season. If you can pick up the odd win here and there, like we did against Fulham, then all the better. But since the international, in the 7 days from the restart of the international break, we've got 7 from 9. So
that's impressive.
Obviously, you can get 9 from 9, but really, I think that is a brilliant return from the fixtures we had as well.
So then the summary is that the draw. Happy with the draw?
Yeah,
Gotta be happy with
absolutely,
the draw.
more than happy.
Yeah, cool.
I think if you're greedy, you look at a couple of the chances we had, and we could have nicked it, but I don't think in our position we can be too greedy and demanding 3 points away at clubs like Reading. So.
And the Sheffield Wednesday game on Saturday, like I say, I had to go to work 7:15, so
Yeah.
Sheffield had just scored, and I said, okay, I've got to go. I can't, I can't hang around any longer because I've got a job to do. So, but then to miss the 2 goals live on TV, I did catch them on Radio West Midlands, but it's very intermittent, whether I can get it or not, because I'm living so far out. Me car aerial's not that brilliant, to be perfectly honest with you. So, but what an absolute gem of a performance!
I think so. There was a spell, 5-10 minutes in the first half where Sheffield Wednesday had 2 or 3 quite good chances. Legends made a good save,
Cracking
one-on-one.
save, that one-on-one.
Yeah. And then Abdi headed over from a decent cross, and it looked like Sheffield Wednesday was just getting with the flow, and playing quite well, without creating a massive amount of chances, especially saves for Legends to make. But once it's still 0-0, then the game's very much open and there for the taking. And I thought second half we actually came out the better side. Sheffield Wednesday's goal was, I think, the first shot they'd had in the whole half. And it was after they made the change. So they were forced to make the change, and it paid off for them. But then the thing I liked about it the most was the boldness and the bravery of Rowett and the team. He made positive changes.
Was it six upfield players he had on?
Well, I think he brought Brown and Jukovic on.
Jukovic, yeah.
And Stewart. So in the end, I think he said after in the interview, in injury time, he had Reece Brown and Jack McGowan playing as the two holding midfielders, which is crazy. But
it paid off though. It paid off.
But it was end to end. I mean, it's a game of fine margins, and if Newey's header creeps 6 inches lower and goes in off the bar, then
it would have been game.
Then some people might be saying, "Oh, he shouldn't have gone for it so much." But
I always think you should go for it if you're losing 1-0,
especially at home.
If you're losing 1-0, like you say, at home,
the cameras are there. Yeah. I know that shouldn't make a difference, but you do want to put out that we are a team that can attack and can adapt the way. I think that was the thing I liked as well. We didn't just go the same old Blue style. We tried to adapt the way we went at it. And as I say, full credit to Rowett and the players that came off the bench. They all had a contribution. Reece Brown played well, obviously. Jukovic with the setup and the goal in the end, and then Stewart had a big impact in the second goal as well. So.
Hey, here he comes.
I'll just catch you up, shall I?
Yeah.
I'll just catch you up. Okay. Your friends are in tonight as well, by the way.
Oh, good.
Snowy says, fantastic result on Saturday. Long may it continue. Nikki, keep right on, says, everybody keep right on. SOTV Blues. Tom Ashford wants to know how many ticks we've got for Forest away. King of the Land.
I'd like to know that as well. Forest away.
Gladly one was going to be tough. Keep on. Very frustrating to watch Sheffield Wednesday pass the ball around like they do, but possession means nothing
Absolutely.
if you don't do anything with it.
Yeah. I think they had 2 or 3 shots on target in the whole game. Yeah. Obviously, the one they scored from, and the 1-on-1 which led in save. So you take them away, and they've created 0 or 1 other save for Legends to make. So they can have the ball as much as they want, and I think that's a trait that Blues have got, that we will allow teams to have the ball, and we'll invite them to come and break us down then if you can. But they didn't make force Legends into too many saves.
And your fan club, Alison Shilton. Good evening, Chris P. You're definitely flying your kite. Race, I don't know what that means.
No, man.
It's not.
No, it's a reference. It's a reference. I think only she knows. Nobody else has ever heard of that reference.
What was the reference?
Flying your kite means having a good time.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Maybe she'll let us know.
I like flying kites.
Yeah.
I like kite flying. It's fun.
That's why I'm not involved.
Some good second half performances, but Morrison and Shotton were immense, said Ray. Nick Smith said it's a long, long road. That's true.
It is.
It is, but you've got to trudge the road, haven't you? You've got to walk every inch of it.
Exactly, you've got to walk every.
Hello, said Louis Woodhouse.
Hello.
And somebody called Tim Andrews. I don't know who he is.
No, get rid of that one.
He says, can you give the girls a push for next Sunday? Last home game of the season.
Yes.
Of course, we'll do a little session on the ladies very shortly.
Yeah, and on the shout box on the website, we've got, good evening, fellow plebs. It is I, Doco, the legend. Sorry I've been around lately, but I've been witness staring down a dark hole.
How good.
Interesting.
It's good to know.
Yeah, so going back to the Sheffield game, Bannon was a thorn in the side all the way through, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Little, like a little terrier, wasn't he? He was at it.
He's got that range of passing as well that could unlock defences. I think they're using him a lot as the focal point to start to build their attacks and to start their moves up. But again, he had a lot of the ball, but the chances created shows that, or the saves Legends had to make shows that they weren't utilising that possession and chances well enough, and that I think that's partly partly a criticism of them, but partly a credit to ourselves and our defence. Which I can't remember who it was that said it, but Morrison and Shotton as the centre half partnership is actually starting to complement. They are complementing each other very well at the moment.
Not had a partnership back there since. Let's go back. Scott Dann and Johnson. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
But that is a promising partnership that's developing at the moment, and whether it's Kujak or Ledgins behind them, they are developing a bit of a partnership. But
we look very well defensively, Craig.
Yes, I agree. I think we do, but I think that's the whole. The credit has to go to Morrison and Shotton, but it also has to go to the. You defend as a team.
Absolutely,
and the shield that Keefton, Belden, Gleeson, or Keefton, Belden, Davies, whoever's pushing forward, the other one drops back, and that we do defend well as a team, as a unit. So Morrison and Shotton are getting the plaudits at the moment, but I think another little special mention to Grounds as well, who gets cracking. A lot of stick, but he won that ball back for the goal. For our second goal against Sheffield Wednesday, when Donaldson went down with cramp, Sheffield Wednesday picked the ball back up, and he won an important intervention and won the ball back, and then we broke from there onwards.
And how quick was that break? Brilliant.
Yeah, it was
very very fast. And then, but then to see Stewart holding the ball up on the edge of that penalty area, even tripping over, and getting up, and having the tenacity to get that ball onto Magoma, and then that looping header.
For someone who hasn't scored in 2.5 years, that is some header.
Well, he's up and running, kid.
I'll tell you what, that I was standing directly in line with it in the Cop, and I saw him backtracking, and I thought he's not going to get there. And to get the power behind that header, like I say, considering he hasn't scored a goal in so long, that must be playing on his mind. That was felt full credit to him, because that was an excellent header.
Just how good is Ryan Shotton, do you think? Because I'll tell you why I've asked that question, right? Obviously, coming from the Derby area and a lot of people up there, say, hey, he was an absolute donkey, he's going to do nothing. I think he's just brilliant. Yeah. He's really, really, really performing, I think, to the top of his standard. I think at Derby he was played more as a right-back, and whether they saw enough of him at centre-back to make an opinion. But I think it's definitely helping that he's got someone like Morrison alongside him, someone who can lead him, and pull him around when he needs to. But Shotton's got that extra bit of pace as well, which is why I say they complement each other quite well. Yeah. They are both good in the air, but obviously Morrison is more of a presence, and Shotton's got that extra bit of pace. So and of course, Gary Rowett's a stickler for his fitness as well.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. So
I
think they are complementing each other well, and that obviously the results are showing that they are striking up a decent. Us losing 4-0 away at QPR next week, but they are at the moment. It's looking like a promising partnership at the moment.
Dark outside, Chris.
It's
horrible,
2 weeks
isn't it?
ago, it was.
I know. The skies have been a really funny colour on the way here tonight. I don't know why I'm even talking about that.
No,
they really have been. Anyway,
somebody called Jane Pugh has come on.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry, they're all there tonight.
Can we block them? Is there a blocking process?
It's gone back. Chris B. David says Liverpool to Nottingham is a long way, so you're on your own.
Oh yeah. Well, what it is, because someone mentioned the Forest tickets. That weekend is my brother's stag do, and we're going up to Liverpool.
Right.
But that Friday night is Forest away.
Right.
And I thought we could go up to Liverpool.
Via Forest. Via Nottingham.
Well, no, because we're going up to Haydock Park races on the Friday. So we'll have the race. And I was thinking, have the races, day at the races.
Straight back down
to Nottingham. Spend the night in Nottingham. Back up to Liverpool on the Saturday. And spend the Saturday.
It's good.
It's a good idea, isn't it?
It's a good idea.
Spot on.
It's a good idea. I'm taking Sharon on holiday the weekend.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
We're going to Newcastle.
You spoil that.
Full of glamour.
I try my best. I do try my best. And no, we are generally going up to Newcastle the weekend to go and see some nice friends up there, Alan and Tricia.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Spending 3 or 4 days up there.
Might not be the first trip.
It won't be the last trip this season, though. Hopefully on the 10th of December. We are looking into doing a Tilton Talk away day special. That's one of the games that we've got in mind.
Yeah.
Some more details will follow shortly, as soon as we've kind of clarified what the costs and everything are going to be. So 10th of December, keep it in your diaries. It looks like we're in...
and possibly the 11th as well.
Yes, well, well, I was going to say
the whole
that.
weekend free, basically.
You basically don't plan anything that weekend.
There will be lots of fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you're coming.
Even I'm
Chris.
looking forward to this one.
I don't know why
Bring
you're
your own
coming.
frogman swimsuit.
There's going to be lots of fun. We're trying to potentially arrange a football game.
Are you
with
paying all these people to come on the shout box?
Who now? I don't. You know,
Sharon.
Sharon
Sharon Burton.
doesn't matter.
Sharon Burton.
I think-
Hey, Chris.
I think they all ought to change their names to Pew surnames. Change to have a mass Chris Pew Appreciation Society on
We'll
Facebook.
have to get a group set up. won't
Yeah,
we?
yeah.
Nicky Keep Right On says well done to Clayton Donaldson as well.
We've got to give
Yeah.
Clayton some blood.
Yeah.
You know, he's coming for some stick lately. He's scored, is it 4 this season now so far?
I think it's 4 in his last 4. So
4 in 4.
yeah.
Yeah. And you know, he's been literally been on his own all last season.
Of course
up
he
there.
has, yeah.
And now he's got not only competition but also a little bit of help.
Well, that's that's where you can, Rowett's got that dual impact. Whereas he can put pressure on Donaldson and say, listen, Jutkovic has scored last week, so Donaldson knows Jutkovic has scored.
Mm-hmm.
He's come on for the last 20 and made an impact.
Won the game.
Exactly. But also, there is that aspect that if we are behind in a game, then that is, we could utilise the both of them together, and it worked wonders against Sheffield Wednesday. So, Donaldson winning the penalty and then scoring it, and Jutkovic getting the winner. So,
All good.
Talking about the penalties, Tom said there was 3 penalties.
well, there should have been definitely. I think the
definitely
Magoma one
Yeah.
That was a penalty, yeah.
was a definite.
Just hacked him down, didn't he?
But I think I saw Rowett's interview afterwards, and he made a very good point that because the ball's come away, I think the rest followed the path of the ball and not kept his eye on Magoma.
Yeah.
But maybe that's where you look at the
fourth official.
the assistant referees and the fourth official to say, what are they watching, what are they looking at as well. I can see the referee would follow the ball.
Especially
Because
the speed of the games are played
exactly,
at as well.
and there could be a foul in the next phase of play as well. But yeah, I think that was. I'm not sure which other one he's referring to, but yeah, that Magoma one, I think they were lucky to get away with. If that would have been given, I don't think Sheffield Wednesday could have complained with that. So.
But then, having said that, Donaldson could also have been picked up for the handball on the tug of the shirt, couldn't he?
Yeah,
there's
little bits in every game that you can pick out at, but yeah.
10 to 8 nearly, Mr. Brown. We're hoping to get Howard Gayle on the phone very shortly, as long as the technology allows us to. And we'll be talking about his book, 61 Minutes in Munich. And I've got that right, didn't I?
Yes.
So it'll be great to have an ex-player, chatting away to us very shortly. Queen's Park Rangers just had a tweet off Birmingham City Football Club. There are less than 400 tickets remaining for the Blues trip to Queen's Park Rangers on Saturday. So it looks like another away day sellout.
That's another
That's a good one, yeah.
good seller. That is
It is,
QPR
yeah.
away.
I
I
don't
think
know
considering it's a
But
naff ground.
Yeah.
Well, we had all those issues there last year,
exactly.
didn't we?
There were
Oh,
the
of course,
big
with
issues.
the infamous
yeah.
punching on the pitch, didn't we?
Yes,
That was
and,
last year,
and
last
the
season, yeah.
locking
Yeah.
the Blues fans out as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's a bit of a crush, wasn't there? So hopefully it's all.
Make sure you get there in plenty of time if you are going,
yeah.
please. Yeah, we don't want any repeats of what went on there last year. Your prediction for that one, if you want to put one forward. If you don't, I'm quite willing to move on.
I'll take another point.
You take another point.
Another point on the board.
Brownie?
1-1.
Yeah, I'll fancy a win.
Obviously, you've got to fancy the
I do
win, haven't
fancy
you?
a win,
Got to
actually,
fancy the
yeah.
win.
I wouldn't.
Away day
I
win.
wouldn't turn it down.
Okay, a quick review on the ladies then before we hopefully get Howard Gayle on the phone and catch up and see what's been going on.
So, Tim made the reference on the Facebook. Next week is our last home game of the season. Liverpool at home in the league. 2:00 kick-off on the Sunday. And then the week after that is the Continental Cup final in Manchester against Man City. So
Yeah.
two big games coming up. It's always a good feisty game against Liverpool.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, so it'd be great for the fans to come down next week, and if they can't get down to Manchester, come up to Manchester, then it'd be good for them to come down next week and wish the players well before the game, before the final the week after. So
kick-off is again.
Which one?
The one.
Well, they're both at
game.
2:00. Yeah, Liverpool at home at Solihull Moors next Sunday. This Sunday coming at 2:00 kick-off, and then the Sunday after is the Continental Cup final away at Man City.
Do you know how the tickets are going for that one?
The final?
Yeah,
not too bad actually. Man City put a tweet out, and Blues retweeted it, that if Blues fans have been allowed blocks 5 and 6, so if Blues fans want to sit together, then they've been allocated blocks 5 and 6 as the area where Blues fans can buy their tickets.
Okay,
I don't think it's going to be segregated or anything like that, but they are saying if Blues fans want to sit together, then they have been allocated blocks 5 and 6. And I looked earlier, and I think block 5 is pretty much sold out. So,
right.
So you'll probably be looking at block 6 if any Blues fans are still interested in coming to the final. You can book online, but you'll have to register on the Man City website, or you could phone up for tickets.
Okay.
But just ask for block 6.
Just quickly say, we seem to get busier and busier and busier on the shout boxes every week. So, and I do apologise for not getting to everybody. But
we are reading.
We
are reading the messages that come through. But obviously, it's impractical to.
There are some that I just miss and I can't get to them. But we'll try.
Marvellous, wonderful.
And just a quick one as well. The under-20s England.
Ladies.
Yes, ladies. Yeah. Coral Haynes scored the winner against the United States.
Oh, right, okay.
We were 1-0, and Coral scored the winner. And we also haven't conceded a goal in the 3 games that they've played. And Jess Carter was in defence for, I think I'm right in saying, all of those games. And Sophie Bagley was in goal for 2 of the 3 as well.
Brilliant.
So we've been representing our nation very well over the last week or so with the under-20s as well. So
smashing. Got to pay credit to our under-23s today for beating Cardiff 4-0 away from home.
Some
cracking results.
fringe players there. I think
Stewart scored on 20 minutes. Popper on 35, Otterball on 65, and then Reece Brown on 75.
And Reece Brown as well. So three of the players that you could conceivably see in or around the first team getting.
I don't know much about Popper yet.
I think he scored a lot of goals in that development under 23 bracket, but I haven't seen any sign of him coming through into the first team squad. But it's good that people like Stewart are getting game time. Obviously making an impact when he come on against Sheffield Wednesday, but getting proper game time in the under 23 level, scoring a goal, and the same with Brown and Solomon Otterball as well, because Solomon Otterball had a big impact at the start of last season. So we haven't seen much of him this season, but
you've also got to pay a little bit of credit to Reece Brown as well for sorting his head out and his attitude and one thing and another.
Credit to Brown himself for turning it round. Credit to Rowett and the team as well for giving him that chance. He went to West Ham, didn't he? I think for a period, trained there. And it looks like they've sorted him out and trying to get the best out of him now. And if we can, then that's an excellent addition. Yeah.
And like you say, Solomon Otterball, he obviously is featured in matches for us.
Yeah.
Not a great deal yet, but to have Stewart and Reece Brown play the weekend, and then Tuesday, Monday into that one.
Absolutely,
is again a credit.
And I'm sure
to the fitness.
They'll be involved in the squad, fitness permitting. They'll be involved in the squad Saturday as well. So
yeah. So it's all looking rosy at the moment. Well, rosier than it did.
Absolutely.
Rosier than it
has been.
Oh, we live yet, mister? Ladies and gents, an absolute pleasure to introduce to you a legend of the past. And I say of the past in a tongue-in-cheek kind of way. The one and only Mr. Howard Gayle. Good evening.
Good evening, gents. You can cut that legend stuff out as well.
We have to cut quite a lot out, to be perfectly honest with you. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you, and thanks for having me on.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. I actually thought you were going to make the journey down from Liverpool and come sit with us for a couple of hours, but hey, maybe next time.
Yeah, well, as I say, I'm down there over the next couple of months, so I'll pop in.
Yeah, do that. You'll always be welcome. Always be welcome. Right, Howard, got a book out.
Yeah, it's been a long time in the making. It took us 6 years to put it together, and
Why so long?
Well, through different things again with other work commitments, and the guy who wrote it, Simon Hughes, again, he's changed jobs from working from the club, from working for the Telegraph, to now working with a big company called De Coubertin. So
Yeah.
it's been a long time in the making, but I'm sure again that when people get the chance to read it, it'll be a worthwhile read.
Superb. Why the title, 61 Minutes in Munich?
As I say, my claim to fame at Liverpool was I came on in a European Cup semi-final, or a Champions League semi-final for Liverpool in 1981. And I came on for Kenny Dalglish, and I made history because I was the first sub to be substituted. I came on, I think I was after 17 minutes, and I was taken off just before the end of the game. And I say it was for 61 minutes, but for those 61 minutes, I made a huge impact on the game, and we were able to get out of there with a 1-1 draw, and went on to beat Real Madrid in the final in Paris.
It must be an amazing feeling taking part in something like that.
It is, again, as I say, that's what you play football for, and for me, again, as I say, Liverpool were my team growing up, and I was able to live the dream and being able to play for them, and I could only wish that I didn't play any more games. Again, I only played 5 games in total in the 5 years that I was there, but I'd made a mark in the club's history, so I suppose it was a proud moment for me.
Yeah, and again, it must be nice having that written in stone, so to speak. And nobody can change the past there, can they?
Yeah, well, and on top of that, again, I've got a Champions League medal as well to prove it. But some players again go through football and they don't achieve anything, and I was fortunate to be able to do such with, as I say, with my home club, Liverpool.
Where do you keep that medal?
I don't know what it's in storage.
It's all right, we're not going to come up and rob you.
I know, but yeah, it's in storage, and it's with all my other memorabilia. I've got a under-21s Euro Championship medal again, and I gained that actually while I was playing for Birmingham. Yeah.
And what was it like playing under the reins of Mr. Paisley?
It was a strange. I wouldn't say it was strange in the fact that I didn't know him, but Bob was a strange type of person, and he wasn't a man of words, and he didn't come across as somebody who was articulate when talking about football, but he knew the game in and out, and his stewardship came up under the great Bill Shankly, and he had a good team behind him with Joe Fagan, Ronnie Moran, Roy Evans. So it was instilled within the club, and I got in there just as the juggernaut was starting to roll.
A very successful manager, wasn't he?
Pardon me. Yes, he was, and he. I don't really think that he's received the recognition for what he achieved as a manager of Liverpool. And again, you see other people who were given gongs and awards and the acclaim for much less than what Bob achieved. And as I say, he kept things simple. They never fixed what wasn't broken, and they had a format and a way of playing which a lot of teams have adopted today, with an expansive game of pass and move.
Your book depicts your early struggles through life in and around. Was it Toxteth?
Yeah, well, no, I was born in Toxteth, but I was raised in an area called Norris Green. Norris Green was famous in 2007, the murder of Rhys Jones between two separate gangs, the Strand and the Croxteth gang, and I was like an original member of the Strand Gang growing up in Norris Green, and
we've just been
we're the only
getting quite a few messages coming through on the Facebook stream that we're doing, and we've just been asked to ask Howard about Ron Saunders, a dog, Almden Training Ground, and Faces nightclub. you needn't answer if you don't want to.
Yeah, you've only got me on for 10 minutes, isn't it?
Another time then.
Yeah. Again, as I say, Ron was a great manager. Bought into his philosophy as soon as I met him. And he had a philosophy: everybody outside this club is them and us. Myself, Blakey, Oppie, TC, Big Mick Harford, Mick Halsall, Kevin Broadhurst, again, Pat Van, Mark Dents. We all bought into
some names there.
Yeah.
Broad's has been in, actually. He's been in and had an interview with us, yeah. Nice guy.
Yeah, so again, we had a them and us and everybody outside of the club, and I think because of the way Ron was with the media and anybody outside of the club, is that he was always under attack, and he was a shrewd man. Again, he kept himself below the radar, but what he did is, again, he came after his players, and we had the media and lads from the press again following us around and reporting on what we were doing, and I'm sure, again, Ron had his spies in town as well, because he always knew what we were up to. As soon as we got into work, he'd be able to tell us where we'd been and what times we'd been there, and we'd be amazed in how we got this information in such a short space of time. But again, as I say, he knew his players, and he always said to us, again, I don't mind the fact that you go out and you have a drink and that you're enjoying yourself, just as long as that you make sure that you're doing it on the pitch. And he always spoke about the support and our commitment to the supporters, and to be fair, again, as I say, Birmingham had a huge fan base, and I remember, again, the first time they came into what was the old First Division, and they came to Anfield. I think it was in 74, and I think they were 3-1 up after 10 minutes, and the likes of Gordon Taylor and Trevor Francis, Bob Hatton, Bob Ratchford, again, players of this ilk, and I thought to myself, what I mean, that was the first time I'd come across Birmingham, and it was just ironic that, again, the impression that the club made on me that day, that it was kind of like the first club that I signed for when I left Liverpool.
That's very nice, yeah. A couple more questions. How do you rate Blues this season?
Well, I watched them. I've done a radio commentary for the BBC up at Wigan, and I just thought that was a game, and I'm sure, again, the players and the manager would have thought that was 2 points dropped, because Wigan scored with the last kick of the game, but Birmingham had gone 1 up in the first half. I just thought that they needed to add to that goal to make the game safe. They were always vulnerable to a bit of luck, a mistake or whatever, and you could see that the players were dejected coming off it. But watching Saturday night's game, absolutely delighted when I seen that second goal went in. And again, as I say, it's not always, again, sometimes about playing well. It's about getting results, and especially in that division. And they've been doing that over the last couple of weeks. They've been grinding out results, and let's hope that carries on till the end of the season. Again, momentum is a big thing in football. And as the players, again, they carry on winning and they get into that habit of winning, confidence will rise. And you're hoping that maybe performances will rise as well. But right now, again, they're in the right frame of mind, the right mood. And I'm just praying that, again, that this can be their year, and hopefully, again, they can get direct their promotion rather than having to go to the lottery of the playoffs. I think the fans are going to play a huge part in it. If the fans get behind the players and the team, I think, again, as I say, that promotion will be a formality, because they've got such a huge and a fervent and a passionate support. If they take that to St Andrews, they always have it away from home. Again, they're one of the best clubs in this country away from home. But we've got to get people turning out at St Andrews, and and get behind the team. And the players are going to make mistakes. And you see, the modern crime football is now is that as soon as a player makes mistakes, everyone's on his back, and the player then doesn't maybe want to touch the ball anymore and shirks his responsibility. But if the fans get behind the team, like I know that they can, as I say, promotion will be a formality.
Brilliant.
Rather than it being a question.
Question from Ray Hodbrow. Howard, what was it like to be one of the enforcers with Mick Harford, Noel Blake and Hoppy?
Well, again, I was talking to Blake earlier on this afternoon, and again, as I say, that was just something that we adopted. We were a very close-knit unit on the pitch, and we were even closer off it. There's nothing that we didn't do together. Again, even going as far as that, we were always on holiday together, and there 5 names again who I'd stake my life on, because I knew that they always had my back and I always had their back, and whether we were on the pitch or whether we were off it, we always looked after each other, and we had a strong bond. And I just wondered again when it came to the end of that season where we got relegated, I just wonder whether the gaffer Ron broke that team up on purpose, because he sold me to Sunderland, Blakey went to Portsmouth, I think Hoppy went to Man City, I think Mick went to either Luton or was it Spurs, and TC again, he went to Watford, and they were like the backbone of his team, so to say. I think it was not long after that season that Ron left the club, so maybe he knew what the outcome was going to become for the future, because I knew that he was absolutely gutted what happened at Aston Villa when he left there, and he left the reins to Tony Barton, and Tony Barton ended up winning the European Cup with that team, but nobody seemed to give Ron Saunders the credit because he built that team. I mean, that team the season before had won the league in great style. So I just wondered again whether he knew that this was going to be the case with Birmingham, because I knew that he did go to the board and ask the board for some money to bring in some players to strengthen the squad, because we had a prolifery of injuries that season again. Mick Harford was out for 3 months with a gash face. And when we missed Mick, again, Mick was sort of like the pinnacle of our team. Again, everything went through Mick, and one of the most, again, underrated players that I played with, Big Mick Harford, because people seeing him as a big target man, but he was more than that. He was brilliant on the floor, technically. He used to spend hours again volleying balls after training and just correcting his technique. So it came to a stage again where I mean, we were all going to end up in different parts of the country, but it was a shame really, because that side was 2 or 3 players from being a really, really good side, and I think that we were 2 or 3 players from maybe going places.
Well, as a club, we've had our trials and tribulations certainly over the last 5 or 6 years. But when you were playing back then, we used to get some sizable crowds. What was it actually like to be on that field of play when Keep Right On is resounding round St Andrews as it used to be? Obviously, with no chairs then days, obviously.
Yeah, well, again, as I say, the far side of the ground, and I'm thinking again the goal against Aston Villa when I've gone right up on the railings, and as I say, the passionate fans. That goal in itself, again, that was sort of like a payback from the earlier game at Villa Park, where Blakey had scored a perfectly good goal. He missed a penalty as well, and ended up getting a 6-game ban for putting Steve McMahon at the end of the game. But the support that he got from the fans for that when he was able to play again, that's just what Blues are. When they get it right, they've got a brilliant fan base and a brilliant support, and when they get behind the team again, they can be unbeatable. That game against Watford in the semi-final, I think there was something like 50,000 on that day, and again we got it back to 1-1. Barnsley shinned one off his shin and it looped over Coty, and we ended up losing 3-1.
Yeah.
And I thought that we had that would have took us to the next stage. If we'd have played the semi-final against Plymouth, we'd have beat them. It would have most probably meant that we'd have played Everton at Wembley, and we'd already done well against them that season. At Goodison Park, again, we scored 2 goals, and the referee chalked the second one off for Big Mick pushing. It was a great header. Well, so we knew that we had a chance against them. We knew that on our day we could beat anybody. But that game against Watford, where it was a full house, unbelievable.
I know. I used to love it. All right, I've got Chris Pugh here. Going to ask you a question now, Howard.
Howard, just a quick one. Obviously, you mentioned just about you've got a winner's medal for I think it's the 1984 Under-21 Euro Championships with England. I think you scored in the final as well. Obviously, we've just come off the back of another disappointing international tournament. As someone who was part of an international tournament that won something with England, where do you think the actual things are going wrong with the England squad? Is there something fundamental, or is it just a number of small things?
I think it's a fundamental thing. I think that the way we coach and we develop players in this country is that the FA and clubs are always looking to see what other people are doing so that they can copy it, rather than them having an innovation. I think the Euro Championships again, I thought the manager he was always going to fail in Roy Hodgson. I think that he wasn't his own man. I think that he didn't take the right personnel. He had no plan B, and plan B would have been if he took a proper target man, somebody like Andy Carroll or possibly Peter Crouch, whereas those teams he was sitting back and defending the box. And a lot of the teams, again, were good at it, in particular Iceland, is that you're thinking to yourselves, there was no change. And because they couldn't get round the back of Iceland, or, again, as I say, the other teams in the competition, is that they failed. And you had experienced players then who didn't want to get on the ball, your best players, again, who were making fundamental mistakes. And I think with England, the manager's always had a problem where they've always picked the best players instead of the best team, and you're looking for a manager who'd be brave enough to say, well, you're not playing well, we're not taking you. And I'd have took maybe Theo Walcott. I would have took somebody again with maybe a little bit more pace. I'd have took an Andy Carroll. But I think fundamentally, the coaching system within the English game is poor. I think the most important people in your football club should be your coaches who is responsible for developing your young players. Now, I'll give you an example. If I go into my daughter's school tomorrow and I tell them that I'm going to be teaching you maths and English up to GCSE level, and we'll see it in the morning, I know the next morning that when I turn in the school, that all their parents are going to be up there with their placards asking a question of why somebody who's not a teacher, has not got that experience, is going to be teaching maths and English. And I see the same thing within football. Lots of clubs now are carrying university graduates as coaches, when you can see that there's loads of ex-players who have played the game, who are working outside of the industry. So why not have players in your club who are like maybe mentors, or who can talk to a young person about what he's feeling about going into a game, who can talk to a young person who's injured and what you need to do to focus on getting yourself fit. But even talking to players when they're playing well. But if you've got young people in your club, and I work on the streets, and the stuff that I do, young people look at me and think, right, you've got a bit of cred, you've played for Liverpool, you've done it, you've played football, we'll listen to you. And it's exactly the same within a football club. You've got a university graduate or somebody who's never played the game, who's responsible for developing young people and developing their mindset. But I think also, again, what we don't do is that we don't produce winners. We don't produce young players to be winners. They're not competitive. They're taught again to be passive, to take easy options. I have a saying again that players who are streetwise off the pitch, they're streetwise on it. But I also see that within some academies, again close to home, whereas they look at a young player's profile, and maybe in some cases they look at whether he's got two parents at home or one parent at home, and they'll make a decision on whether they're going to take that player because they'll see that comes from a settled background.
Do you think they're coaching the character out of players at a very young age?
Yeah, I do. And again, when you go to tournaments abroad, you've got players who are spitting on you, digging you. Anytime the ball's over the way, they foul you, they're pulling your shirts, whatever. Our players are taught, well, don't do that. Yeah. Our players, well, make sure you don't get sent off. And sort of rhetoric like that. We have to start teaching our young players to be winners. I think the academy football, again, is living proof of that. Is that the academy football, again, was set out in the 80s, whereas we were supposed to, even at international level, getting a little bit closer to winning a trophy, and we're nowhere near closer. So again, what the FA and what they'll be doing is they'll be looking for a different way forward and how we're going to do this. I just think the appointments of Sam Allardyce again was the wrong choice.
Yeah, me too.
Because again, they're going to sack him, and again, as I say, if he wins a trophy for England, then the likes of Fabio Capello and Bobby Robson and people like that, again, they've been doing it the wrong way. But
who would you have personally as England manager if you were given the choice to put one in tomorrow?
Pardon?
Who would you have as England manager if you were given the choice to put one in tomorrow?
I'd look at maybe again somebody younger, an Alan Shearer, a Steven Gerrard, somebody again who again they've played the game, they know what it's like at international level, but they'll also instill a pride and conviction into your players, where you have to think for yourself. You can't keep on looking to the sidelines for help from your manager. And I think that the likes of Alan Shearer, Steven Gerrard, and Jamie Carragher, there's enough of them. Even looking again at Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry's gone to work with Martinez for the Belgian squad. I didn't even look at him. He's played in the English game long enough. He knows the game. But taking Sam Allardyce again as the England manager again, it just beggars beyond belief. His remit has always been for clubs to avoid relegation. That's what he's a specialist in. He's not a winner. He's never been a winner. But for some unknown reason, it's like he was the only candidate. So like we had to take him. They didn't. It seems that they didn't want to go down the road of a foreign manager again. So he was the obvious choice. They've gone with a man who's had managerial experiences, but other countries, they take gambles on players or appointments, and in Spain and Italy, they go for young managers. We don't. We keep on going for experience. And again, as I say, even the passes, the process of picking a manager, to have people who've played the game involved in that decision, and not bureaucrats or businessmen.
Totally agree, Chris.
You mentioned Jamie Carragher there. Obviously, there's a direct comparison to have with the man who was alongside him with Sky Sports a lot, with Gary Neville. Do you think there's a fear factor for people like Carragher, that they see what Neville did? He tried at Valencia and inevitably failed and came back. Do you think there is a fear factor there at some point?
No, well, I know Jamie. Watch Jamie again. Jamie tells it how it is. He's not scared of ruffling the feathers out that Liverpool, where maybe other pundits or other ex-players are. But Jamie tells it how it is. He's got a good knowledge of the game. He'd organise again. Even in relation to that, the England job could have been a joint venture between maybe one of the forementioned, where it was a two-man job. But I think in particular again is that I wouldn't think it'd be a fair job for him. I think if the right job came along within English football, I think Jamie would look at it and come away from being a pundit at Sky.
I'd like to see that, definitely, yeah.
Definitely.
Right, tell us all about the book, where we can get it from, etc., etc.
Well, the book comes out in the first week in October, which is Black History Month. I think it's on. I think it's on sales at Waterstones and also on Amazon. I think I've got a book signing sometime in October and November in Birmingham and Waterstones. I've just heard that today. So hopefully again a lot of the Blues fans will pop along and
Get that shared,
Yeah, we'll get the information out for you there, don't worry. Do not worry. If you could just let us know the date of that as soon as you know it, then we'll do everything we can on our social networks to promote it for you.
Yeah, if you can message me, Howard, and we'll get some.
Okay, mate. Yeah, I certainly will.
Boston.
Yeah, cracking.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Right, okay. What the ultimate question is? You're down there in the history books, the first black player to play for Liverpool. We don't see colour here on the Tilton Talk Show, do we, Chris? We don't see it at all. We're all colourblind. Everything's grey to us, Howard. So what's it like?
I thought you were going to say you'd only see blue there.
Well, we do. Honestly, we do. So what's it like to have your name, your personal name, written into the history books for that massive achievement for Liverpool?
Well, there was a lot of again black players who made history at maybe smaller clubs, and it's just that Liverpool was such a juggernaut and the history of the city and the club. Somebody decided to attach the title of me being the first black player. When I got into Liverpool again, there was other black players there, but I was the first one to sign a professional contract and to make it into the first team. So it's a proud moment for me, a proud moment in history for my family, and also again for the club.
Was it something you were conscious or aware of at the time when you were still playing, or is it something that's dawned on you since you've stopped?
No, well, it wasn't actually until I went to Birmingham. I left Liverpool and I came to Birmingham, and a guy done an interview with me from the News of the World, and he'd said that again. You were one of the first black players to play for the club, and it just sort of like snowballed from there.
Brilliant.
Fantastic, yeah.
Okay, well, we look forward with anticipation to the book coming out. Good luck with it. Thanks ever so much for joining us here on the Tilton Talk Show on a Monday night. It's been a pleasure and a joy to have you along with us. And as I say, you're very welcome to pop in any time you wish, sir, on a Monday.
No, well, I will do again. As I say, I said to Blakey today that I'm going to start coming down and watching more Blues games.
That's
and,
it. That's what we want. That's what we want.
Hopefully I can bring them a bit of luck, and let's hope that this year or this season is a season where they can get back to the big time.
So even though you're a Liverpool supporter, you have a massive affinity then for the Blues?
Yeah.
Do you have that same affinity for Newcastle and any other team? No.
Well, I do for all my clubs, but again, Birmingham was my first club when I left Liverpool, and absolutely gutted when I had to leave it. And I remember again when Ron Saunders called me into the office and said that he's had a 75 grand bid from Sunderland, and I remember saying to him, well, yeah, and I'm waiting for them to say, well, we've rejected it, and he said, well, I've got no money. So the only way I can spend in the summer, because obviously we've just been relegated, is to cash in on the players that he had, and I was the first one out the door, and absolutely gutted I was, and went up to Sunderland and told myself that I was going to reject the move and just go back to Birmingham, and I just went up to Sunderland and decided that, well, if the club have accepted it and the managers told me that I wasn't really wanted at Birmingham, so it took me over a weekend to decide, and I just came up with a chance of, well, I've got to move on, so I did.
Any chance of getting Blakey on here at all?
I'm sure he will. Again, I'll speak to him tomorrow.
Good lad. Yes,
And I'm sure he will. Again, Blakey's everything Blues anyway. Him and Hoppy. And
Hoppy's been in. He was a character. He brought his own crate of beer with him.
yeah, well, only one. He's bloody getting slapped in, man. Only turning up with one. But great lads, and again, both of them are Blues through and through. I've actually rang the club up when Lee Clark got sacked and said that Blakey would be ideal for the club. He's coached young players, all the top young players, Ross Barkley and all of them through England, and he would have got the fans on side. I think over the past few years that's maybe been a problem with Blues, is that there's been a divide within the club, and it needed a manager that was going to bring everybody together.
I think as a supporter now, though, with what we've got now with Panos and Gary, things have improved like a millionfold.
Yeah, you can see that.
Without a doubt, and I think we have to. We pay those two guys so much credit because of how they conduct themselves for a start, and the communication not only with the club, but with the fans, but also with the media is absolutely second to none.
Yeah, well, so many clubs now again they forget the importance of the fans, and again the fans now are starting to organise themselves. And I know last year again we had a walkout at Anfield and Liverpool were 2-0 up. Everyone walked out and the game ended up 2-2 with Sunderland.
But it changed things, though, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Really?
And as I say, the clubs have been flogging the fans, and they think too much with corporate hospitality rather than the real fans who support the club. And I take umbrage again when I go and watch a game and I see people sitting there with the phones up in the air and their iPads with their video in the game. I'm saying support the team. And what have you done? You mean you're chasing this onto social media? Support the team. But that's again the way things have gone now with fans again, is that some of them are quick to complain about the
we know that.
of the team, but they don't really support the team because they've gone there on a jolly for a freebie from a business deal or whatever.
Yeah, you see them regular, don't you, Chris?
I do, yeah.
Howard, there are people asking about the book. I know you don't know the date yet, but do you think it's going to be at Waterstones signing? And
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was confirmed. But as soon as I've got the dates in that, what I will do is I'll let you lads know.
Fantastic.
Superb. Well, it's out on Amazon, £16.99 on Amazon. It's 61 minutes in Munich. Howard Gayle, 6 years in the making. An absolute pleasure and a joy to speak to you tonight. Thank you ever so much for coming on to the Tilton Talk Show. And as I say, you're welcome up here anytime you're up in the Brum area, my friend. Anytime, come in, bring Blakey with you, bring Hoppy, bring some beer, and we'll all doss on Chris's front garden for the night.
So we'll be doing a weekend show then, will we?
Ladies and gentlemen,
again, thanks for having me on. I'm KRO.
Keep right on to yourself. The one and only Mr. Howard Gayle. Howard Gayle, ladies and gents. Howard Gayle. Well, that was a scoop for the TTS, wasn't it?
Yeah,
What a man.
Spoke very well, very articulately about his past and the future, for what he sees as the future for football as well. So it was an excellent interview.
I enjoyed his summary on the England setup as well.
Yeah,
cracking question.
Of ideas,
nice one for that one. I like that one. Chris Brown's wrecking the studio yet again.
But he mentioned things like Carragher and people like that. And sometimes I do sit, and you watch the Sky coverage and you see the way that Carragher and the like analyse the game, and you think, why aren't they with in an England setup or in coaching in any club, and
has to change, doesn't it? At some point, it's got to change.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, you look at it and you just think they're wasted in a studio talking about the game.
Well, like we are.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you think they could be giving the game so much more than sitting in a studio for Sky, telling us what's going on. So.
Yeah, can't take him anywhere, can you?
Struggling.
He's off again.
I'm making everything and I can't find the answer.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Mr. Producer, the one and only Mr. Chris Brown.
Just had quite a few comments on regarding the sound quality, saying how good it was.
Well, that's the first time we've set up a phone
Just
in
used
properly.
a slightly different system going through the mixer. So,
Set up the phone in this afternoon. We were working on that this afternoon, and what we're hoping now to do is slightly change the format of the show a little bit and have more people phoning in, more fans phoning in. But keep it clean, keep it real when you do. You are live, and you are in the public domain. Please remember that. Right. Okay, so we've had our special guests. We've had Reading, we've done Sheffield Wednesday, we've done Queen's Park Rangers, we've done the BCFC Ladies and the Under-23s and Ryan Shotton. Now I'm going to come on to the usage of pyrotechnics.
Go on. This is where we get serious?
Well,
Here we
this
go.
is where I say my piece. I'm entitled to it. Pyrotechnics.
Just remember to keep it clean. You're in the
I will
public
do.
domain.
I will do. Pyrotechnics are illegal inside a football ground. Football grounds and football stewards and the police and the council and licensing and all sorts of people like that don't put their heads together and come up with these ideas just because they think it's to poop somebody's fun not to have a pyrotechnic on them. I've had a personal message from Aaron Gellers. He said to me, "Can I ask you to apologise on air for my bit of stupidity at half-time on Saturday? But state that it was not my pyro, please. Thanks, mate." And in case you need a recap, I went down to the smoking area at half time. I'd had a few jars. I picked up a pyro and waved it above my head for its final few seconds. And then he says, "I feel daft." You may feel daft, but again, somebody could have got seriously injured. All right. But, it's not like the club has just made up this rule not to allow things like that. It's like you wouldn't take a knife into a football match, would you? Because it's on the banned list, yeah? So don't take a pyrotechnic in. It's very simple. They are banned. They are illegal. They're against the law. Don't do it. It's very easy. And it's very easy for us all to get caught up in our emotions and our excitement now and again. And I can understand how Aaron feels. He's genuinely a nice guy. I've met the lad a few times. Never come across as being an idiot at all.
No.
And I think he generally feels remorseful for what he's done. A moment of stupidity, hey ho, it's out there on the internet. You think it's funny at the time, but then you wake up the following morning to the outflow and to the consequences of what you've just done. You got a take on pyrotechnics?
I just think, you can't get away with things. Everybody's got a mobile phone with a camera on it, and it's so in the spotlight as well, isn't it? I think with every club, the use of pyrotechnics at the moment, or flares, or whatever people want to try and bring into the ground. I'm very surprised that it got in to the ground in the first place. The stewards were supposed to be beefing up on security checks before the games and things like that. I know when I go in...
Very difficult if you've got one down your socks. Or you can
when I go in at 11:30, I have to get there at 11:30 on a match day. So I get there and I'll get searched top to bottom. If the girls are coming in with bags, they ask for their bags to be checked, and that, and that's the stewards, and that's the staff. So, if they're not doing the same for the fans, then that would surprise me.
It's a bit worrying this time, the political situations and whatever. Look, you can get in with a pyrotechnic, which could quite easily be something else.
Yeah.
They're not small, are they?
They're about as big as your microphone, I think. Something like that.
Yeah.
Perhaps, so big.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good for radio, isn't it?
Yeah.
That big, yeah.
But yeah, it's not clever. Don't do it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Can there be a straighter message? Don't know. Can there?
No, probably not.
And it's against the law. And I think Aaron's going to find himself very lucky if he gets away with this from club level, to be perfectly honest with you. The CCTV system at St Andrews is absolutely incredible. They would have seen the smoke on a camera, they would have zoomed in. They probably will find out who it is.
I mean, that's the thing. You know, I'm not gonna slight somebody when I wasn't down there, so I don't know what happened. You know, I think Aaron said he was on the floor and he picked it up. You know, in all fairness, it's probably better above his head than it is on the floor with the smoke billowing up from people. Yeah, I know. I understand that.
So
I don't know what's happened. So if he's come along and it's on the floor and he's picked it up and it's fizzled out within 10 seconds, then you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I think.
But don't stand there and pose for a Facebook picture.
Well, that's where the drink and the foolishness comes into it.
Look, I'm Mr.
Exactly. I'm not being funny. I'm not being funny. There's been occasions where we've all had a drink and done things that we shouldn't have done. And if it would have been on camera, we'd have regretted it the next morning. So
yeah. But whoever it is that's obtaining these illegal items,
that's what they should really be looking at. How, to beef the security up again. If it means people getting a little bit later or it takes longer to get through the gates, then so be it. But if they're serious about the things coming into the ground in the first place, then I think that's the way they've got to go.
I made a mistake a few weeks ago at the Blues Ladies game. Well, that man bag that I've always got. I've got a screwdriver in the bottom of it. Yeah. And I was walking towards the foot. I threw it into the ditch, threw it into the hedge, right? Because I wasn't going to go all the way back and take it back to the car. But I'd accidentally got a screwdriver. Yeah. I can see it. Things are easily done. Yeah. But when they're, and it was a good job that Sharon was with. She says, "Have you took that screwdriver out your bag?" Oh, I said, "I don't know." And there it was in the bottom of it. How stupid. So it's easily done, but
that's you, Bard. If Tim's listening, that's that's you, Bard.
Well, it's not because I can prove where the screwdriver is.
Bringing dangerous weapons into the ground.
See how easily it can be done. I use my bag at work and this, that, and the other. I'd done a little job in the morning, shoved my screwdriver in it, meant to take it out at home, forgot, and turned up. There it was. But like I say, good job. The bearded wench. If you don't know what that reference is, then check out my Facebook photographs.
Might not want to know.
The bearded wench. I was grateful that she reminded me about it. But they are on the banned list. Please do not purchase them and don't bring them to a football game.
You also need to mention the Sheffield Wednesday fans as well. I don't know if you got that down the list. That was seen ripping down the catering facilities at the back of the.
Absolutely disgusting.
Did you see that at all?
No. No, I wasn't in that stand, and I didn't actually hear.
Unfortunate.
I didn't hear anyone coming out of that stand mentioning anything. But
they took all the signage down.
I saw that.
Fair bit of damage, really.
Why? I mean, why? Why? I don't get it. I'm sorry. I don't get it personally. I don't want to go and vandalise anything if anybody's.
I think there are good and bad in all fans. We're no angels.
Well, of course not. Of course not. No, but I wouldn't.
Well, I've been in the Villa end when seats have been broken and stuff.
Yeah, but I've never. It's just me. It's my mentality. I wouldn't break a seat. I wouldn't go to somebody else's football ground and remove any part of it, whether that's for a missile or for a bit of fun, shall we say? I don't know.
Back to the screwdriver.
Here we go.
Nick did a job in the morning. Is he carrying a swag bag?
Who was that?
That was from Ray. And away days, here we come, said Dennis. Well, maybe you shouldn't have said that. There we go.
Yeah.
Not confirmed.
No, they're disgusting scenes, though. But again, you've got to, everybody's got a camera on them. Everybody's got a video. Everyone's got a video camera in the pockets.
That's what people forget. The fact that at the end of if you're doing something then like that, then 9 times out of 10 you're going to be filmed doing it because
as we know from our coffee.
And when we had that when we had that mosh pit up at Huddersfield and I missed the first 10 minutes of the second half, it was just fun. Yeah. You wouldn't join in, would you?
No. Absolutely not. No. I'll leave you lot to it.
Alrighty, okay, so that's Pyros dealt with. Now, on to another issue that I've been reading about, which quite disturbs me, is that 2 young children seem to have been attacked somewhat in Block 4. Around about 9 and a 13-year-old. I'm not 100% genned up on it. Don't know what went on. I've heard it was about people asking people to sit down. Applaud all the atmosphere that this has brought to the football club. I genuinely mean that because it has been very flat of late. and it's livened it up. You could see that it was lively on the TV. You could hear it on the TV, and but we can't get into situations where things like this are happening, and potentially kids are going to get hurt. For what? No idea who was involved, no idea why they were involved, but it's never nice to read anything like that. And they're our supporters as well.
Yeah.
Their own. So it's not even like you're picking on. I don't know. I don't get it, Chris.
No, I don't. Yeah.
If that's fun, then I'm going to be called Mr. Fun too.
I've only heard that through what you've probably heard it through, but without knowing the full extent of the details again, I think the problem is that unless you're going to cordon off Block 4.
Which is not
or a certain block, or any block for fans like that.
You can't. The Tilton Alliance and the Block 4 people should, in my opinion, should understand that they have the potential there to grow something very special.
But it wasn't sold out.
And perhaps even get a safe standing area for themselves at some point in the future. Yeah?
But
any acts of stupidity will be noted.
Whilst that block's not sold out, anybody can sit there, so that that's not a block where you have to where you stand and sing and shout, and that is just a block that anybody can sit in. That a seat in Block 4 is for anybody to sit in, and if somebody wants to sit down and watch the game, then they're entitled to do that. They've paid their money, they can do that. So you can't go around shouting at anybody, let alone it could have been me or you in there. You can't go around having a go at people and telling them, to stand up, or having a go at them for asking you to sit down.
I love standing up. I love standing up at football. I love it.
But some people don't.
No.
And if they've paid their £20 to get in, and they want to sit in that seat in that block, then you can't have a go at them.
My personal advice then to the Tilton Alliance and its admin and its members, etc., is campaign for a safe standing area. Campaign properly. A proper.
I think that's going to take a little bit longer than
it might do. Yeah. It might do, but stop the infighting, people. It's
Absolutely.
not nice.
I think that's the main thing to say. It's, there is a lot of it at the moment, isn't there? Whether it's been going on for quite a long time now with Blues fans, that everybody, quite a few people seem to be wanting to get one up on each other, but I don't know. I've never really understood that. Surely you just. There's one aim. There's
all for one, all for all.
Well, yeah. But I don't know.
As the Three Musketeers said. I bet you remember that, don't you, Chris?
I do.
The black and white version.
Yes.
Right, moving right on. Super 6. Well done to Mr. Pugh and Mr. Brown for the Super 6 scores over the weekend. Did you see these pair rocketing up the table?
Back with a bang. Back with a bang.
Blimey, just after half time, I was on 17 points again, and I think I got down to 6 in the end.
6, I think.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Oh, I've not got over that injury, Chris.
No.
Never got over it. No.
As long as I'm not the last Tilton Talk presenter, then I'm content with that. I'll take second out of 3.
We'll discuss it in May.
Yeah, we will.
Discuss it in May.
We will indeed.
But Ray Obber was right up there as well, partway through the game. And
there's a few. I can't believe how many points people have got considering the start of the season. But
I've even got to pay credit to my sister. She's doing very well. Thank you very much, Pat. Yeah. Thank you very much, Pat. She's doing very well. She's doing better than me, and I'm probably going to end up forfeiting the £20 again this year. But I don't care for it because it's for Macmillan Cancer.
That was tough for you to do. That wasn't it? I could feel that was tough for you to do. Then that prize.
Yeah,
it took a lot out of you.
Yeah, it's took everything out of me. It took the wind out of my sails.
Just to catch you a little bit, Nick did a job in the. Oh, you've done that one. Yes, to standing areas. Someone to stand, someone to sit. Separate areas to be brought in the future, possibly. Said Luke.
Yeah, but it won't happen, Luke, if people are infighting and backstabbing one each other and bitch biting and arming kids or even falling out in any respect. It won't.
The thing I worry about safe standing is the first thing that goes wrong. Then you're going to be closing them down again. I think. I think that's the big worry with football clubs at the moment, is that somebody's got to. I think Celtic have done it, haven't they?
Yes.
Celtic have got one at the moment, but people might start following, but the first one that goes wrong, then there is going to be. I think they'll be closing them down pretty quickly again. But
Super 6 is a fix, said Dennis. He's not in it, is he?
He's not in it.
How can it be a
it's just
fix?
going-
How would he know?
How would he know? Come on, Dennis. Come on, stop the inviting.
Let's have a bit of nice play, please.
And Ray said it was a tough Super 6 this week. So he's saying that. I mean, look at him, look where he is. He's top.
Yeah,
Isn't he?
yeah.
Is he trying to show a bit of sympathy for us?
No, I think he's rubbing it in.
Well, I'm congratulating the pair of you. I think you both did very, very well indeed. There you go. I'm having to eat so much humble pie today, it's hurting.
And we enjoyed it, yeah.
We have a competition today, Christopher, and our competition shirt is the one that we showed you on Facebook Live about 20 minutes, half an hour ago.
Yeah.
We'll put it up again if you wish.
I'll try again.
Try again. You'll have to come this side of the light, though. And it's a kind of a Paul Tate look-alike, but it's a blue shirt with the white writing as opposed to the white one with the blue writing. You'll perhaps have to come back further with the light, I think, maybe. There we go. There we go. So that's what it looks like. Yeah, that's yeah.
Will do, mate.
And answers. The only way that we will accept an answer is by you emailing.
Tilton Talk at sports-radio.co.uk.
Tilton Talk at sports-radio.co.uk. Please do not put the answers on the shout box or on Facebook. And this is the competition for that shirt. Competition winners will be put into a hat. Mr. Fun will have joy pulling one out, perhaps the week after next, because we're doing a different kind of show next week, aren't we? So the competition is this: in what year were the first floodlights officially switched on at St Andrews, and who were we playing? Okay.
It's quite a hard one.
That is tough.
In what year were the first floodlights officially switched on, and who were we playing? That's for a T-shirt. That's for a T-shirt.
People are Googling as we speak.
No, yeah,
Oh, Doco will be.
It's a hard one.
that is tough.
Right, we're going on to catering for a little while now, Chris. The new bar's opened, and this has been written onto the Blues BCFC.com. Pleased to announce the unveiling of a brand new bar at St Andrews, the Happy Abode. The bar has been developed with support of Heineken UK. Located at the right of entrance 5 to the COP, the Happy Abode replaces a previous Subway unit and Blues Museum Subway unit.
There was a Subway.
All right. What, like a sandwich Subway?
Yeah.
All right. That's how much I know.
I was there for about a year, I think.
Is that right? The name of the bar derives from a lyric within the club's anthem Keep Right On, which has been sung by fans on match days for over 60 years. The famous anthem influenced the design of the new bar, which features artwork celebrating both the song and the late Alex Govan. What a lovely gesture.
It's a good gesture.
What a lovely gesture. What a caring club we are.
I can't say I went down there, but yeah, obviously my remit is the kiosks and that. But,
Yes, yeah. But you know, I just think it's nice to have a look.
Yeah,
at
it's a nice tribute to Alex Govan and that.
And please do tell me that the guys were running around with the Fosters on the backpacks again this week.
They were,
Super.
yeah. And there's hawkers running around with pies,
fantastic,
and there was sweet bags as well this time as well. There's pies going round the concourse, actually in the ground.
Right.
Good old days, isn't it?
In the first half, I think, and the second half as well, and sweet bags as well. So.
Yeah, because no disrespect to the catering, the queues at the top there at half time.
At half time, it's always it's always a mad rush. So if you wanted one just before half time, then the hawkers are walking around. So
is that on the half?
Keep your eye on them on the COP. I think they walk from like block 39.
Yeah,
I think they walk all the way along the middle between the upper and lower blocks. They walk all the way along the middle, round the Tilton. I think they go as far as the Tilton.
Right, okay.
And then back again. They keep
Brilliant.
Mark Johnson said, I had a nice hour in the pub on Saturday. Aaron says, will they have decent cider in there? Actually, I think I need to stay off the pop in future at the moment.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the cider beyond the bars?
Oh dear, Aaron.
No, I think that was Aaron saying he's got to stop off the beer. And let's go on then to the Cookhouse. Since the new and improved Cookhouse menu was launched at the start of 2016-17 season, it's been a real hit with fans across St Andrews. More notably, it has received critical acclaim from Birmingham food critic Paul Fulford. The catering from Kiosk seems very good quality street food. It was deeply satisfying and a filling dish and a bargain too. There you go.
A bargain.
Paul Fulford, who is a food critic in and around Birmingham. There are now 3 permanent cookhouse kiosks, one in the Cop stand, the Easy Group stand,
Bar
D-Bar
12.
and the Tilton Corner respectively.
Yeah.
In addition, the club has introduced 2 mobile kiosks located next to the changing room bar and the Tilton Road stand.
Yeah.
So there's 2 there now.
Yeah.
I've not been in that entrance this season.
Yeah.
And next to the Easy Group stand, press entrance, these kiosks serve premium quality burgers and hot dogs with a selection of condiments. Right.
Also, the one thing that they sorted last week was instead of having all the condiments on the kiosk on the actual bar, because people congregate around the bar then to get their sugar and stuff. So there's actually a little desk
Right. Okay.
in the area rather than on the bar. So all your stuff's there now. So it stops people congregating around the bar. So hopefully
Free up a bit of that.
everyone will get through a bit quicker. Hopefully without people standing on the bar putting their sugar in their coffee and that. I hope that's the intention anyway, to get people through a bit quicker.
Do you have like briefings before you go in?
Yeah.
So what would one of those be?
Well, this one was just to tell us that we had to sort the condiment desks out. So to get, because I think that is something that fans moan about quite a lot. The fact that there seems to be loads of people at the bar, but nobody getting served. But it's actually because most of them are actually just getting a fork or stirrers or sugar for their drinks and that. But if all the condiments are away from the actual bar, then hopefully it'll get people through a lot quicker, and the staff can see who actually needs to be served rather than who's just waiting to get some sugar or whatever.
As far as the bar is concerned, next to that, though, do you think it would not be a good idea for them to, I don't know, pre-pour about 50, 60
They
bars?
do.
So they do.
Some bars do. Some
Right.
bars do, and then they get complaints saying, I don't want that one, I want a fresh one.
You're joking. Please don't tell me that.
Yeah.
Mark
human
Johnson
race.
says he has a problem with the food, as they don't sort of tend to cater for people with allergies. He's probably right.
Yeah.
Probably right. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
probably.
it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a focus on the vegetarian options because there was only really a cheese and onion pasty, hot food wise. So they've started to get the vegetarian meals down to bars a bit quicker now. So those options are there.
Right.
Yeah, the allergy one, that's quite tough.
What, your gluten frees and the likes? Yeah.
I'm not sure how we could compensate for that. I'll pass it on.
Please
to
do.
say that that's a point that's been raised.
Yeah, I mean,
See if they
perhaps
can do anything.
Perhaps you could have one that was dedicated to to doing
one
that.
bar in each stand that had a couple
Yeah.
of meals
Yeah.
that catered for that. Yeah.
Yeah, whether that's just a pie or a or
Yeah.
whatever So, however, right up, and there's also a write up now on the on BCFC.com about the Cardiff game today, in which we beat Cardiff 4-0. Blues under 23s recorded a resounding victory away at their Cardiff City counterparts at Vale Park on Monday afternoon. The Blues goals were spread around the side, with Greg Stewart, David Popper, Viv Somlett and Otterball and Reece Brown all finding the back of the net for the visitors. Stewart, who was one of Blues' 3 overage players, fired his team into a 20th minute lead with a strike from outside the area before David Popper doubled their advantage 10 minutes before the half-time break. Just after the hour, Mark Solomon Otterball put the game beyond reach. Just after the hour mark.
Yes.
That's not Mark.
No.
Solomon Otterball.
No.
Lack of a hyphen there. Just after the hour mark, the hyphen is there. Solomon Otterball put the game beyond reach when he took advantage of a Cardiff City mistake before charging to the box and shooting home. Then, with Cardiff pushing forward in an attempt to give the Blues some semblance of respectability, they were hitting the break with Blues, and Brown capped off an impressive performance by the visitors in the 75th minute. We hope to have comments of Blues development squad Richard Beale on BCFC.com later today. Looking at the lineup for there, the Blues under 23s: Jake Weaver, Josh Dacres, Cogley, not followed in much, to be honest with you. Royce Wiggins was in there.
Yeah, that was one of the big things. Wiggins playing, yeah.
Charlie Cooper, No Baba, Josh Martin, Paul Caddis, Reece Brown, David Popper, Greg Stewart and Viv Solomon Otterball. There's a
Half of that squad's had first team experience,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's good. People like Wiggins and Caddis who haven't played this season very much. It's good for them to get minutes under their belt, and hopefully they can stake a claim for a first team place then.
And going back to the Sheffield Wednesday game on Saturday, what an incredible lineup that was on the bench for a change.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, we made 3 changes that impacted the game, and Cottrell and Fabrini didn't get on.
Yeah.
So you look at that; those two could come in as well, and you look at that under 23 side that we've got there. There's, it's nice to be able to say, come February time, these players could come in and give the first teamers a bit of a rest.
And what do we know? Just a month or so away from the proposed takeover, as long as there's no putbacks again. Yeah. So that 5 years in the making, Chris. 5 years. Can you imagine it? And hopefully, we can start to push on and get our football club back, because it's been missing for a long time. Things are so much better now than they were. But there was a good question posed to me earlier on. Was do you think Panos will retain his position, and is he part of the Trillion Trojan? He's a really difficult Trillion Trophies Asia. Is he going to be part of that setup? We don't know.
No, you don't know. We'd be speculating, wouldn't we? I think we mentioned last week it'd be nice if he did. So.
Yeah. Absolutely,
I can't see him wanting to rock the boat.
No, that's I would agree with that. Yeah. They've obviously been watching how things are progressing, and they've seen the trust that's built up between Panos and the fans. So I think,
in an
ideal world, I think, in an ideal world, I think he would keep his place.
Can you get hold of him again, Chris? Find out when he's coming in.
Yes, I actually spoke to him yesterday.
Did you? Okay, all right, no problem at all. No problem at all. All the confidentiality is coming out now. Right up next, Queen's Park Rangers. You got a prediction for that one?
Yeah, I'll go 1-1.
1-1. Chris Brown.
I'm going to go 2-1.
2-1. I'll go 2-1 with him. I'll go with him. 2-1. Well, 1-2.
It's funny how it sort of like switched over the last
1-2.
6 months. You were the more like sort of erring on the side of we're going to win.
Yeah.
You're going for more draws and.
Well, it's Mr. Fun.
Yeah.
Let's
calm it all down.
No infighting now.
That's it. Yeah.
Where the hell has that gone off?
One absolute joy and pleasure to talk to that chap tonight. The one
I
Mr.
didn't
Howard Gayle.
I didn't even have a chance to have a go at Stoke.
No.
To have a go at
Stoke.
Go for it.
Go for it. Go on. You got 3
Yeah.
minutes.
Who do they think they are? Their fans. They're moaning and complaining, wanting their manager out. They've lost back. They've had 5 games in a season, and now they want their manager out. The guy they've spent 15 million on is no good. Shaqiri, an international who played for Bayern Munich, get rid of him. He's never fit. Arnautovic don't want to. Who do they think they are? They're in the Premier League. They're spending all this money. They've got a decent manager, and 5 games in, they want everybody out.
What are they? 6 places?
Get
above
a
us?
grip.
6 places above us?
How worse off could you be?
Well, they could
My
be from
goodness
V6 and
me.
they could have spent another.
But you can see
60
where
million.
football fans' frustrations
But
are
it's
born
so
there.
fickle.
Well, yeah, but, you know.
honestly, it's ridiculous.
Fans are
5 games in, and you want everybody out. The players and the manager that did so well the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Apparently, all of a sudden, they're no good. Get rid, get out.
I heard that after Mr. What's it from Albion? Pulis went, right?
Yeah, well.
I heard a rumour that if Pulis went, they'd be after Mr. Hodgson again, which that would worry me if I was an Albion
That
fan.
wouldn't work, would it? That wouldn't work.
No,
Don't know.
So going back to Stoke,
talking about getting fans on your side. If you can get rid of Pulis, the fans might like that, but
just nipping back to Stoke City a minute, because it is my neck of the woods.
Yeah,
What do you think
that's
has
what I
gone wrong?
mentioned. Nothing. They've just
Nothing.
had a tough start to the season. They played a Spurs side that were really good. They've had a few difficult games. They haven't had the rub of the green maybe on a couple of decisions.
Just a quick one. Leicester are doing quite well as well at the minute, aren't they?
I think. Well, yeah. Well done, Leicester. Yeah.
Well, that's it. 9 o'clock on a Monday night means that we're going to be switching off the microphones in a minute. Thank you, Mr. Pugh, for your tremendous input again this evening. And Mr. Brown, our sincere condolences go to you and your family. And you are a hero tonight for staging the show and keeping the continuity going. And we genuinely thank you for that.
And dropping the mic and the...
Yes,
the
well,
alcohol.
those are just the normal things that happen, Chris. Those aren't out of the ordinary. Please don't try. Please don't try and make.
Don't try and be professional, for
The
goodness
thing is,
sake.
before we had cameras, we could hide it.
Yeah.
Exactly the sort of mess I made.
And don't forget the competition. In what year were the first floodlights officially switched on at St Andrews, and who were we playing? Answers on an email to
Tilton Talk at sports-radio.co.uk.
This has been the Tilton Talk Show. Next week, it's going to be a slightly different format. I'm going to be hopefully producing a show from home for the very first time.
For one night only.
For one night only.
How exciting!
What are you going?
I'm away. I'm away
He's
for
away.
the weekend.
He's away for the weekend. So that's the new. You know, we are progressing. We are getting, more and more technological
We are, yes.
as we go along.
Scary, isn't
So
it?
all I've got to do is get myself a USB mic ready for next Monday, and then we'll probably do an hour show next week, and then see where we go with that one. Mr. Pugh, thanks very much. Mr. Brown, thank you so very much too, and thank you people out there who listen in and make this what it is. Without
you very much.
we
Just quickly say,
are
we're going to leave
nothing.
with a bit of country from me. My dear old man.
Do, 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 do.
Not that one.
Nope.
No.
You dear old man, bless you.
Good night.
Good night.
How I'm doing now from time to time, and when you're sleeping, do I ever quietly walk through the shadows of your mind, and I still not seem to go on without him. But when they end, I wake up crying, and I still dream about you now and then. All the nights we spent together come riding through my mind on memories, and it's so hard to forget you when my mind thinks you've spent the night with me. And I still dream about you, not seem to go on without them. But when they end, I wake up crying, and I still dream about you now and then. And I still dream about you, not seem to go on without him. But when they end, I wake up crying, and I still dream about you now and then. Yes, I still dream about you.
We are the lads from the
now
Tilton.
and
We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? Birmingham's a team down at St Andrews. We are all supporters of our team. The chant of Super Blues ringing all around. Now all you blue boys know what we mean. We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the on, sing this song once more.
SRBRadio.com.